Hello. This is Antya from Byte Shuffle. Thank you as always for watching my videos. This time, I put together a guide on how to approach the Grixis Reanimator matchup when playing Ad Nauseam Tendrils, as well as my thoughts on sideboarding. It's a bit old, but there's a video about the basics of Ad Nauseam Tendrils linked in the description and at the end of this video, so feel free to check it out if you're interested. Here is the deck list we will be using this time. I have card draw, lands, and combo pieces as well, so I'm keeping this hand. Surveil's effect leaves it on top of the library. It feels like my opponent might be on UB tempo. Since I can play around days, I'm deploying Wishclaw Talisman first. Now that they have two swamps in play, I've got a really bad feeling about this. I'll use discard to check what's ahead. I took Reanimate. I'm going to dig for some mana acceleration. I stack Thoughtseize, Brainstorm, fetch land, then draw. Looking back, I think I should have checked the target of Cabal Therapy more carefully here. I completely thought it was targeting me. I'm using Brainstorm to hide my mana acceleration. I put them back in the order of Chrome Mox first, then Beseech the Mirror. I'm going all in from here. I'll increase the mana needed for the combo. I'll use Gia's Will to reuse the resources in my graveyard. I build up my mana and increase my storm count. Before sideboarding, I'd like to review the list we used. First, the conclusion. I will explain it step by step. Because the opponent relies on the graveyard, bringing in Grafdigger's Cage is pretty straightforward. In exchange, we cut a basic land and a Surveil land. This is because both decks are trying to combo as quickly as possible, so the game often ends before many lands ever hit the battlefield. As a side note, there are different schools of thought when it comes to the color combination. The choice comes down to this: do we play a faster game in black, or pivot into a blue game after our key cards get stripped away by discard? Personally, since I think the opponent's deck is faster, I preferred the latter approach and went with this configuration. These are the key cards from Grixis Reanimator that impact Ad Nauseam Tendrils. First, we have discard spells such as Unmask, Cabal Therapy, and Thoughtseize. Since their discard package is particularly punishing, we keep all copies of Veil of Summer to fight through it. However, since Veil of Summer doesn't interact with the opponent's proactive game plan, we're mostly keeping it in as a necessary compromise. Next, we have Stronghold Gambit and Show and Tell. To get around our graveyard hate, the opponent will often shift their game plan after sideboarding. So, instead of additional discard, we bring in Flusterstorm, which has a higher impact in this matchup. This time, the opponent is on Grixis, but even if they were on Sultai instead, Flusterstorm can also be used to fight against the Smog combo. In exchange, we trim down on Thoughtseize. This is a rare case, but if the opponent's hand is full of fatties, we can sometimes end up putting them into the graveyard ourselves with the Friendship combo. Therefore, among our discard spells, Thoughtseize is the one that loses the most value, which is why we trim it. Additionally, we cut Living Wish. Living Wish usually assumes we'll pass the turn after setting up our combo. In this matchup, passing the turn is not acceptable. That's why, among our tutors, Living Wish is the one we value the least and choose to cut. I have a bad feeling this hand could fall apart to their discard, but it has the bare minimum, so I'm going to keep it. I'll use discard to check what's ahead. I took Show and Tell. To hold up Veil of Summer, I'm putting Lotus Petal onto the battlefield. I'll cycle Edge of Autumn. I'm going all in from here. I'll increase the mana needed for the combo. I'll activate Lion's Eye Diamond to enable Hellbent. With Infernal Tutor, if I can get up to 6 mana and have Lion's Eye Diamond, I can win from there. With Beseech the Mirror, if I can get up to 4 mana and have at least one artifact or enchantment on the battlefield, I can win from there. I build up my mana and increase my storm count. Thank you very much for watching until the end. I apologize for the many misplays along the way. I hope we can all continue to improve at Magic together. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. I'll see you again in the next video. This is Antya, signing off.